Mayor Kasim Reed in the studio with us right now. Give a shout out to Jason on Twitter, who's trying to inform me of something I already know.
Oh, hi, Jason.
Jason, just keep listening. The mayor doesn't duck any questions. He's trying to at me about this story about the sirens.
Yeah.
State law says devices are for emergency. Mayor says it's legal. Wanda wanted to say something.
First of all, when I saw it, and they were covering the story, in my mind, I'm just a regular person, and if I felt like, you know what, the mayor's got to get from point A to point B. You're going from place. I know how I feel sitting in traffic, so I can imagine you having to, speak at this college or go to this business or go here. And honestly, I really thought about it. I said, what if the president, was here? Would he sit in traffic? Like, why are we bringing this story up about the mayor not, using a siren? To me, I just thought it was a waste of time. I think it's very disrespectful, and I think you need to get from point A to point B. That's the whole purpose of having it.
Yeah, here's what I feel. I feel like, number one, it's sweeps week. I think that they spent 5 weeks on that story and deployed helicopters on me. And what they, never really discussed is when I terminated Kelvin Cochran, I came on this show. When I terminated Kelvin Cochran, I had more than 10,000 emails. I had calls to my home. People said they were going to kill me. They called me the Antichrist. They said that Mohammed Kasim Reed, you're a Muslim. I had to increase security at my home. So the point is, they don't know what goes on in my office and why I need to move from place to place at a certain time. And my behavior is completely consistent with other people that have had my jobs in Atlanta and in other major cities too. When you're a mayor, you schedule multiple events because you're trying to respond to people that want you to be at their events. My team is trained to drive in a safe and secure fashion. And so it's really not about me feeling like I'm above the law. I'm just trying to do a job that's really hard. Now, my predecessor said that she couldn't recall ever using it. That's flat out wrong. I was her campaign manager. Half of her detail is my detail. So she definitely used blue lights. So she can, discuss that with half of my detail, who was her detail. And I've been in the car when she used blue lights. So Ambassador Young used them, my predecessors used them, but I want to be sensitive to what people say. But, I'm not going to sit around and take these shots. I understand that some people may be frustrated about it, but I'm trying to deal with a calendar that is a very full calendar, and I'm trying to do the job that I'm asked to do. And I'm not going to get on the television and turn my life and my family and my wife into a shiny object for many people who are unstable. Right. And so they ambushed me. They asked to interview me multiple times. And I said, there are a number of things that go on around me that don't go around other people. I'm not 74 years old. And so I move at a different pace. And most of the folks in Atlanta think I'm doing a reasonably good job. So I want to be very clear to the people of Atlanta. I don't believe that I'm above the law. And then they tried to smear me by saying where you were late. It's not that you're late. I have hit times at events. So Ryan and Wanda, as you know, you can have a 12 o'clock event. That's right. But the time when you're supposed to do your part, you had a run of show.
That's right.
It says you're there at 12:45.
Right. Yes.
So Lori Gary, who I've known for 15 years, just needlessly, because it's sweeps week, slandered me and said he was running late. Well, if you have an event at 12 and I'm speaking at 12:40, it's not inappropriate for me to get there at 12:35. And if I've had some days, and I've talked about it publicly, where I have 4 events scheduled within an hour and a half or 2 hours. That's not uncommon for a mayor of a city.
That's right.
So I want to be real clear. I'm not comparing myself to President Obama or Vice President Biden. I don't have an inflated sense of ego like that. Let me be clear. But all I'm doing is using the same size security detail. So I don't want, any exaggeration. To have the same size security detail as every other mayor have. But you can go on Twitter and see the kind of things that people say to me. Now, it got much more up close and personal when I terminated Kelvin Cochran. Right. Because we're in Georgia. And so unless you've been at your house and while you were bouncing your child on your chest, had people call your house during the holidays and talking about that you're a Muslim and the Antichrist, and somebody should do something about you, you know, I think you need to withhold your judgment. But WSB is in sweeps. They felt it was a shiny object, and so they wanted to take shots.
Does it cost
that
anything?
Comes with my
Is
job.
it costing anything? Is it
and
costing
then
the city
there's one other
anything?
point I want to make. The bottom line is it costs what it costs to secure the chief executive of the city. The other point I want to make is then Cedric Alexander gets on WSB and comments about his use of blue lights. And if WSB and Laura Gary were being fair, they would have pointed out that Cedric Alexander competed to be my police chief. And I didn't pick him. And then he pursued a job of chief in Chicago and didn't get it, right? After being shortlisted. So if you're going to have somebody talking about me, if you want to make a fair representation, you should say, it's fair to point out that this person competed for the chief job in Atlanta and didn't get it and now sits in the cab, right? So, you know, the bottom line is I don't duck when I come here.
Right.
All questions are on the table. And so, you know, I wasn't going to come on here and try to not talk about it.
Right.
But the bottom line is they wanted to try for me to turn my life and everything I do into an open book, and we deal with real threats. So they don't know what is going on in my office.
Right.
They don't know what phone call that I get that would have to keep me at my desk, that would warrant me moving quickly. And, you know, with all due respect to everybody else, we all have different jobs.
That's right.
And so I'm doing my job the way I think I should. And most of the people in Atlanta think that we do a reasonably good job. You know, my predecessor who got on the radio left her job with a 35% job approval rating. Right? So they do their jobs the way that they want to do their jobs. And I'm doing mine as best I can.
Wow.
But I want to be real clear with the people of Atlanta. I don't think I'm above the law. I love my job. I try to get to as many things as I can.
That's right.
I'm getting the message. I will certainly try to be more thoughtful about this. So I want you to know that I will definitely check my own spirit and check myself. But there were some things that were just grossly inappropriate to deploy a helicopter over me.
Wow.
Like, are you kidding? Right? If you talk to other mayors of other major cities, most of them have a security detail that tries to move them safely from event to event. And most of those people are trained. And so that's really, that's really what I have. Aside from that, I have no other energy about it, you know?
I even thought about Ryan, you know, like your schedule, you know what I mean? Like you trying to get to those games and the traffic. And I'm like, how do you do it? I often wonder that. So I can't imagine you was just at the movie theater the other night. You got to leave there, go somewhere else, I've
been to 3 events, and then they had all of that
crazy
talk, and they didn't say anything about the use of blue lights to escort football teams. On Friday and Saturday nights in Atlanta, Georgia, you use... Really? So is the use of blue lights to escort a high school football team somewhere is inappropriate? I don't think so. I just think that it was sweeps week, and I think that it was irresponsible to try to put a shiny object because you don't know anything about the threats that are directed at me and the people around me. You have no knowledge of that. And I'm not going to sit on television and go point by point with you, you know, while you have a clear agenda, which was to drive sweeps. They've been doing this story for five and a half weeks. Wow. You all could tell from the film that they had a hot helicopter over my car. And you know, all of that, you know what they saw in all those 5.5 weeks?
Crazy.
They saw me doing my job.
Right.
8:31.
And you really have to ask yourself, what did they really want to see?
Right.
Right.
How about that?
We got more.
And everybody knows that folks at WSB are highly hypocritical.
More coming up. Going to talk, you know, this voting, what's on the ballot that you need to know about. You've seen the mayor on television. And what's going on with
V. We running commercials.
We appreciate it.
All right.
Me and Wanda's kids appreciate all those advertising dollars that you spend,
yes.
sir.
That's right.
Hey, 8:31. We come back. And what's going on with the Civic Center?